Today I'm talking about Lyme disease in pandas. Now, PANDA stands for Pediatric Autoimmune Neuropsychiatric Disorder Associated with Strep Infection, and this is an overview that's published in International Journal of General Medicine. The two authors, first author is Hannah Rhee. She's a licensed physician from California with a focus on immune-related arthritic conditions and its neuropsychiatric sequelae. And I'm Dr. Daniel Cameron. I'm an internist, epidemiologist in private practice in Mount Kisco, New York. Now, we're talking today about a patient that I saw in my office who presented with anger, irritability, confusion. She was seen by a pediatrician, neurologist, and had a CAT scan, MRI, and was so sick. So the first thought was PANDA from strep. Second thought was maybe it was a conversion disorder, which was a psychiatric condition. But our consideration is, could it be Lyme disease? Is there evidence in the literature to support that thought? So what's similar between PANDA and Lyme is they're both bacteria. PANDA is from strep group A. Lyme disease is from a spirochete, or Borrelia. And both of these share something else in common, is that they both can enter the brain. They both can cause neuropsychiatric problems. So what we know about Lyme disease is typically it's an erythema migrans rash, there's a swollen knee, maybe heart blocked by an EKG, sometimes meningitis, some chronic neurologic problems. But in this case, we know there are some neuropsychiatric problems, and this paper details that at length. PANDA, we know from medical school that it presents with some common illnesses that are classics, like scarlet fever, acute rheumatic fever, glomerulonephritis, toxic shock syndrome, necrotizing fasciitis, and in this case, PANDA. Now, PANDA was described by Swedo in 1998, and it's still being discussed. So this article reviews the science, how both of these bacteria can enter the brain, cause neuropsychiatric problems. So in this article, it reviews work from Dr. Bellman and et al. We're presenting with short-term memory problems, word-finding problems, distractibility, deterioration in their schoolwork, irritability, insomnia. They were sensitive to sound. Dr. Tager and his colleagues talked about suicidal thoughts. And what's fascinating is if you look at the literature, Dr. Bernstein talks about similar neuropsychiatric problems that are seen from strep. Hyperactivity, deterioration in handwriting, separation anxiety, inattention, mood swings, decline in school performance, oppositional defiance, labile emotions, bedtime fears. But Lyme disease, when you look at this subset of kids, has a lot of symptoms that overlap. We deal with a bacteria where it's important to diagnose it early, treat it effectively. So antibiotics are helpful. Sometimes psychotropic drugs are useful. And sometimes these conditions can last a while, so you have to be very careful to help them get better and help them cope in school. Now, in this patient that led to this overview of PANDAs and Lyme, is this patient did poorly on amoxicillin, which is commonly used for strep, did great on doxycycline, did poorly again on amoxicillin, and at this point is doing well following treatment, is back in school, and is no longer agitated. And what this paper really brings to the forefront is that common diseases that we see in our practice, there's plenty of literature to support looking at Lyme disease. This reminds me of nearly 40 years ago when Polly Murray in Lyme, Connecticut said there are too many kids with swollen knees. It turned out those kids had juvenile rheumatoid arthritis as a diagnosis, and it turned out to be Lyme. Now, nearly 40 years later, strep leads to PANDA, but Lyme from a spirochete can lead to all kinds of neuropsychiatric problems. So if you see a kid with neuropsychiatric problems, there's plenty of evidence to look at Lyme, and we should be looking at other common pediatric illnesses to look if there's a reversible cause, a treatable cause of their illness. And so this article provides an overview that in tremendous detail that should help clarify these issues.